Hey, everybody, welcome to Crackpot, the podcast where each and every week we dive into a different conspiracy theory and we also discuss the merits or the spooky demerits of each. Because we're your hosts, I'm Tim.
And I'm Zach.
Spooky Zach.
Oh, almost. Dude, we can't really unveil the spooktacular just yet. We're not there.
I'm just getting people hyped. I'm getting people ready for the season. I mean, I don't know if I should peel back the curtain this far, but we had to wait until the sun was down to record these. Ooh. So it's spooky outside, folks. Should we cue the bird cam?
Cue the bird cam, and we'll let the listeners settle this one. Because, yeah, dude, it actually looks like Halloween already.
We had to wait until October. We had to wait until it was dark, and now we're ready for the spooky episodes.
Yeah, so I was just noticing this. I know that my topic today is spooky.
Good.
Sounds like yours is going to be spooky.
Oh, very spooky. Spooky times a million.
And then pretty soon we've got the Halloween spooktacular. So therefore, like, these are like the appetizers to the main dish.
Yes.
But then we all know once November hits,
no more spooktacular.
Nope, all done.
Done.
Nothing scary for a whole year.
We're just rerunning the Santa Claus episode for 6 more weeks.
Right. That's right.
Until the new year.
So what do you think, folks? Sound good? Doubt it.
I hear yes. I hear thumbs up. All right, let's go.
But
no, seriously, what are we talking about today? What do you got?
Well, so what I thought I would do is finally respond to the dozens and millions of emails that we literally get every single day about some haunted or cursed objects.
Yeah.
That, okay, I will admit, as a 41-year-old, it's a little embarrassing to be talking about haunted objects.
Haunted boxes, haunted dolls, haunted what?
Yeah. However, everybody wanted these topics. Like, I've gotten emails on these, so I was like, hey, you know what? Let's do it. Let's talk about these. At the very least, the stories are entertaining, and if we are talking about coincidences or coincidenci, then most likely
coincidenti. Sorry. Please.
Then most likely something's going on here. So
now, I don't want to steal your thunder, but what I can see the word in my mind. It's like Dybbuk box.
I'm not talking about the Dybbuk boxes today.
Is that how you say it?
Dybbuk, yeah.
Dybbuk.
We covered that in like season 1, I want to say.
Yeah. Based on my research and whatever, that seems to be like the all-encompassing name for a cursed object.
Oh.
Like it's a Dybbuk box. What is it? Oh, it's a doll.
Okay. Or I think Dybbuk just means like possessed.
Yeah.
Right? Something
maybe
to that
that's
effect.
what I'm talking about.
Yeah, but what we were talking about, like, this is what's funny. They are just either cursed objects. They could be haunted. There could be something more sinister going on. They all just leave a trail of bodies in their wake.
Really?
Which is why I'm talking about that. Yeah,
cool. All right.
Like, I mean, again, I know, like, you could say, well, it's a coincidence, but, like, dude, there's just the body count in this episode alone.
I do not believe in coincidences.
Thank you.
I've been squarely anti-coincidence from day one.
Well, I hope most of our audience is, and I'll tell you what, if they aren't before this episode, they will be after this episode, because I will tell you what else could possibly explain the sheer number of body bags left at the door outside my studio here. Wait, what?
I was wondering about that.
You step around those, okay?
Yeah. Do you need a lawyer or no?
I plead the fifth already, officer. But I'll tell you what, man. Like I said, we got a lot of stuff here. So this is like a haunted grab bag.
Sure.
I've got a bunch of objects that are said to be either haunted or cursed. You be the judge. All right, get your gavels out, folks, for those of you playing along at home. And you tell me whether or not we got something else going on here. But some of these are just really entertaining, I will say. So even if you don't walk away saying, you know what, the Hope Diamond is in fact cursed, I hope you walk away saying, dang, that's actually kind of interesting. And wow, that's weird. How about that? Does that sound fair enough?
Yeah. I can certainly get behind one of those two.
Okay.
I'm coming out. I'm coming out right now saying they're probably all cursed. They're probably all haunted.
They actually might be. And in fact, one of them that I'm covering later in the episode, I don't know, man. It's pretty weird. It could be cursed. And if it is, well, then I'm frightened because a lot of this stuff is just plain weird. So I tell you what, let's jump in here. I'm talking about several objects here. So in fact, maybe what I'll do is I'll ask you just from the get-go if you've heard of any of these. Then we'll jump into them, okay? You ready for this? The Hope Diamond.
I have heard of the Hope Diamond.
Have you seen the Hope Diamond in person?
No, I don't think so.
Good.
I've seen a replica.
That's why you're here today.
Oh, I can't even look at it? Jeez.
Right. How about this one? This one has come across the old crackpot desk about 27 million dozen times, and it's James Dean's Porsche.
Oh, yeah.
Have you ever ridden in James Dean's Porsche?
Well, there was... Wait, no, that was... Nope, not
Right.
his. That was Leno's Porsche. Yeah, no.
Again, you're here, so therefore we know you haven't.
Okay, good.
Now, this one I will say I'm almost positive you've never heard of before. Mm-hmm. The Screaming Skull of Bettiscombe Manor.
Not Bettiscombe Manor. I'm familiar with a different screaming skull, so I'll be curious to see how that plays out. Yeah.
Well, dude, here's what's so funny. I could have done, when I was starting like the research and all this stuff, I could have done an episode just on haunted diamonds.
Oh, really?
And just an episode on screaming skulls. There's enough. There are legitimately 4 diamonds that are said to be haunted. I won't give away the other names because
we need episodes for seasons 14 and 15.
Tune in October 2025 to hear about those diamonds. There are also several screaming skulls, but today I'm focusing on the one in old Bettiscombe Manor.
All right.
And that is not where Harry Potter goes to school, in case you're wondering. And then I have one more. I'm looking for the name. Oh, yeah, this one's super weird, dude. The Crying Boy paintings.
Nope.
Let's not talk about that
I don't want to. That sounds a little creepy.
I know. Hey, you know what? I know listeners can't see this because this is a podcast, but if you do, check out our YouTube channel. First of all, rate, review, subscribe. Second of all, smash that like button.
Smash it.
Third of all, Tim, I was going to say, I need like a desk to be putting my notes on here.
I know, man. Like the desk literally right in front of you?
Yeah, I need that.
Yeah, okay.
But in camera shot, so I can do the.
Oh, I see. Yeah,
the thing. What do you say?
Like the David Letterman thing.
Yeah. More specifically, Jon Stewart. Anyways, let's jump into this, dude. Let's talk cursed, haunted objects. Like I said, you be the judge if any of this stuff is real, and I will proffer some objective evidence that I think will sway the jury in favor of yes, these babies are haunted. So let's start with front and center number 1.
Hope Diamond.
Hope Diamond. So the Hope Diamond, it's named after a man by the name Henry Philip Hope.
I was hoping you were going to say Diamond.
Wouldn't it be funny?
Henry Philip Diamond.
It's like Lou Diamond Phillips. It's like the Lou Diamond.
Anyways.
Okay, it's named after Henry Philip Hope. He was a wealthy English banker who acquired the diamond in the 19th century. But the history of the diamond goes much further back than that.
Okay.
And is, checkered. It has a checkered past, I guess we shall say. So I didn't know this, and by the way, this is my ignorance on full display. It was originally mined in India, and evidently it was thought to have been discovered in the Kollur mine in the Golconda region in the 17th century. It's kind of a mouthful, but I'll say this much. I had no idea India had so many mines.
No idea.
Diamond mines, I should say. And in fact, there are several haunted diamonds that come from India, apparently.
I always thought it was from Africa, like South Africa, like the Cape of Good Hope. I just never looked into it.
Wow, you really went like next level with that. You went after that's impressive.
I don't know.
Yeah, prior to this episode, I assumed it was named after a person, but I like where your head's at for once. Okay.
Impressively wrong. That's what I'm good at.
Confidently wrong. Okay, so anyways, like I said, I hadn't realized it, but India had produced a number of large diamonds. Their diamond mines were quite famous between the 16th century and the 19th century, so not sure that there's much going on there today in terms of diamond mining. However, it was a very prominent, I guess, area to discover diamonds. So, Okay, but let's get into the Hope Diamond specifically. Now, it was initially a much larger diamond somehow, and they estimate that it was 112 carats.
Jeez.
Now, that's half of the diamond size of what you gave to your wife, correct?
Yeah. I mean, it was like 250, I think. Yeah.
Okay, so let's do the measures on this. So 112 carats, that's 22.4 grams, or 0.04 pounds, a.k.a. 0.79 ounces. Wow. Which to me doesn't sound like it's that heavy.
No, I mean, how many baseballs are we talking?
Not even probably one, right? It's embarrassingly small for a diamond. No, but seriously, like, I kind of wish this thing would have some heft to it.
Yeah.
And I did see it, by the way, personally.
Did you?
I didn't touch it, though.
Okay.
I didn't wear it. I didn't put it in any setting. At the Smithsonian. That's where it's located today. So all the way from India now to the United States. Anyways, here, it was said to have been a part of the larger Tavernier blue diamond, and that's because there was a French merchant by the name Jean-Baptiste Tavernier. He was one that acquired the diamond during his travels to India. Now, perhaps this is where the curse comes in. Mm-hmm. It's said, according to legend, I couldn't get this verified anywhere, but I saw this repeated many places online, which means it's probably true, that it had been plucked from the eye of a statue of a Hindu idol.
Don't do that.
Number one rule of diamonds.
Don't steal it from a statue.
No,
of a deity.
No, you really shouldn't.
Good Lord.
Yeah, it's not a good plan. So maybe that's how the curse started. We don't know, but let's keep going with the story. So Tavernier brought the diamond back to France, where he sold it to King Louis XIV of France. It became known as the, and I'm quoting here, French blue. That's like the old name for it.
The French blue.
Yep.
Okay, all right. Does it have a blue, tint?
It does. It has a blue tint, which I guess at the time was undesirable. Now, desirable.
The fashion sense of diamonds has waxed and waned over the centuries, yes.
Indeed. So in any event, it was called the French blue. They recut it to 67.1 carats in 1673, and then King Louis XIV had the diamond set in an elaborate pendant that symbolized the Order of the Golden Fleece, a Catholic order of chivalry. And this is probably where the curse gains some traction, because 5 of King Louis XIV's legitimate children died in infancy.
Oh, okay.
The king himself then also died of gangrene some years later. Tavernier, the man who brought it back from India, he checks notes. Oh, was torn apart by wild dogs in Russia. I'm just, you know what?
Sorry. Why does that make me laugh?
Yeah, no kidding. Think about what that says about your character.
Wow. Wow, of all the ways to go.
And we're still in the 16th century, or 17th century, I should say. So
torn apart by wild dogs in Russia. Didn't have that on my bingo card. Keep going, please.
So yeah, not off to the greatest of great starts here. That's okay. I don't own the diamond, so I'm safe. Let's keep going. Ownership then passed to, guess who? King Louis XV.
Oh.
See how this works? Okay. Just goes in order. And if you know anything about King Louis XV, you'll know that he essentially drained the French treasury on costly wars. He had a reputation for weakening the reputation of the French royalty because of all these costly, expensive, and unnecessary wars, which then set the stage for the French Revolution. He died of smallpox in 1774. He passed the diamond to, guess who? King Louis XVI and his wife, Marie Antoinette. Mm-hmm. So, okay, you may have...
Wait, some foreshadowing. I think I know what happens.
Yeah, you could kind of sense where this is going. So, King Louis XV, he basically started to, I think... I don't know. Perhaps his political messaging didn't resonate that well with the commoners, and he didn't exactly set the stage well for the Louis XVI. So what happened? The French Revolution.
Yeah.
And guess who died by guillotine?
Nearly everyone.
That's a really good point. That's actually a really good point.
Tens of thousands, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess as it relates to the chain of custody here, it was King Louis XVI and his wife, Marie Antoinette, were both killed by guillotine. Why am I laughing? I don't know. However, to make matters worse, or maybe better if you're a commoner, the French Revolution then erupted in 1789. So, we've got 40, 50 years here of just nothing but tragedy.
Sure.
What can you say about that? Probably not a great start to the diamonds.
I don't know. Yeah, is it the diamond's fault? Hard to say. What happens next, though?
Let's keep going. So it was stolen in 1792 during a looting of the royal treasury. Reappeared in London in 1812, so passed hands along the way. Yeah. I saw a few accounts of a couple of folks that had possessed it and probably died, but I couldn't verify them. So again, leaving a trail of bodies behind it. It eventually came into possession by the Hope family in 1839. So they were wealthy, jewelers, so on and so forth. Henry Philip Hope, then he was a banker and a gem collector. He acquired the stone. He died in 1839 after publicly listing the diamond in his catalog. And that's fine. He was like the only one that apparently wasn't, torn apart by wild dogs.
Right.
Okay. The diamond then was sold to an American mining heiress who had the financial wherewithal, of course, to purchase the diamond. And her name was Evelyn Walsh McLean. Mm-hmm. She purchased the stone in 1911. Sadly for her and her family, she was beset with years of terrible luck. Her husband died in a mental hospital. Her firstborn son was fatally struck by an automobile at the age of 9. And her 24-year-old daughter died of an overdose of sleeping pills. So not a great run there either.
Yeah.
In 1947, the New York City diamond merchant Henry Winston purchased the Hope diamond from Evelyn Walsh McLean's estate. And from there, Winston had it for about a decade. He brought it on a road tour across North America, showcasing it for charity balls, television shows, that kind of a thing. Nothing really bad happened to Winston, and then in 1958, he decided to donate it to the Smithsonian.
Oh, okay.
But get this. Shortly after hand-delivering the stone, the United States Post Office letter carrier James Todd was seriously injured in 2 back-to-back automobile accidents before losing his house to a fire. Case closed.
What? The postman who delivered the diamond?
Yes, sir.
It's hit by 2 cars and his house burned down.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Can't make this up, man.
Okay, I'm suddenly a little bit more in on this.
Well, that's all I got for you, because now it's sitting safely in some sort of glass enclosure.
Yeah.
I assume indestructible. And I wouldn't want to be the person that shines that, display case or whatever.
Who cleans it? Who dusts it? That's wild.
What do you think about that, though? I mean, that is actually kind of a lot of bad luck.
That's a lot of bad luck. I would also be remiss to say that, anything that passes hands over 4 or 5 centuries is probably going to encounter some misfortune, some tragedy.
Okay, that makes sense. I mean, it's only been in the hands of maybe 10 people, let's just say.
And they're all dead.
They're all dead. I mean, King Louis XVI could be alive today.
Yeah, he could if he didn't handle the stupid diamond.
Right?
Exactly.
Proof positive.
Jeez.
So what do you say, man?
Wow.
Did you know about any of those stats?
No, I did not.
I didn't either. I knew there was some French royalty that had been affected, but I didn't know there were that many people.
Wow. I'm glad it's safe behind glass somewhere. That's all I got to say.
Same here. Well, okay. Luckily for us, we know where the Hope Diamond is today, and if we don't possess it, we got nothing to worry about.
Perfect.
But let's keep moving right along here. This next cursed object, okay, probably don't need to worry about too much because nobody knows where it is anymore.
Oh.
All right, so that's a good sign. However, if you find yourself riding shotgun in a 1955 Porsche 550 Spider, you may want to reconsider your life decisions up to this point.
Wasn't it totaled? I mean, how could it still be out there?
It's haunted, dude.
Okay, sure. But, what do you mean no one knows where it is?
Well, it was lost to time.
Okay,
but
fine.
they did, actually, certifiably there were parts that were scrapped and reused and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
So let's talk about this. In case you're wondering, yes, we are talking about James Dean's Porsche. And Tim, you know me, I'm a car guy.
You're a Porsche guy.
I'm a big time Porsche guy.
More than a car guy, you're a Porsche guy.
I'm more specifically a Porsche guy. And this isn't because I'm 40. I have loved Porsches since I was about 4 years old because there was a computer game that I used to play on my old Tandy 386. Actually, it was a 286. DOS Command, the whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
And it was a racing game, and the main car was a Porsche 911.
Nice.
It was awesome. And
nice.
To this day, I love Porsches because of that. That being said, I do not want this car. All right, so let's talk about the James Dean's Porsche 550 Spider. This one actually is also kind of weird when you just look into it. It's like, okay, I don't know. All right, so this was the 550 Spider. Apologies for any sensitive listeners out there. Maybe turn it down for a second. He dubbed it the Little Bastard.
Whoa.
I know, right?
This is the sausage guy? The breakfast sausage guy?
James Dean. Yeah.
Okay.
James Dean, American icon, classic movie star. Died at the age of 24, sadly, so quite young.
You say 27?
24.
27? That's crazy.
I don't get the joke.
27 Club. I'm just.
Oh, okay. I was like, huh?
What?
No, Tim, I kept saying 24 and you kept saying 27. Just step all over
Read
the joke.
the notes.
Yeah, read the script, dude. No, so, yeah, okay, that's another good point. I mean, he should have lasted.
He should have waited a couple of years to buy the Porsche, is what you're saying. Yeah. Okay.
All right, sorry.
All right, moving along.
Probably came across as somewhat insensitive. But yeah, no, we're not talking about the famous sausage maker. We are talking about the famous actor, the guy that was always in like a white T-shirt and like a leather jacket. James Dean. I don't know that I've seen any of his movies, actually.
Really? Yeah, I've seen a couple.
Right, I probably should have seen Rebel
they're
Without a Cause. But
they are what they are.
Yeah, exactly, right? So, like I said here, James Dean, a Hollywood star, passion for motorsports. He purchased the car from a Los Angeles dealership in September 1955. This was just days before his untimely death. So this leads me to think that, hey, look, it is cursed because he only owned it for a few days. This was a very unique Porsche. It was produced in 1955 along with only a handful of others, but it was known to be a favorite among racing enthusiasts, which is also really what led to James Dean's death. So anyways, he had it customized. He painted the number 130 on the front hood and on the rear. He added the nickname, the Little Bastard, as a rebellious statement to the rear of the car. Fast forward to September 30th, 1955. James Dean, along with his mechanic, Rolf Wuttrich, they were driving the Porsche to a race in Salinas, California. On the way, the car collided with a Ford Tudor at an intersection in Southern California. Dean, like I said, only 24 years old at the time, died at the scene. His mechanic, Wuttrich, was severely injured, but he did survive the accident. Now, this is also kind of like what you were asking about earlier, which is like, what's up with the car? Well, the car itself, or what remained of it, was still somewhat intact. I mean, he was killed in the car, but there were still parts of it that were functional, which then leads to the kind of ongoing chain of custody here that we'll talk about.
Okay.
So let's talk about the chain of custody. Let's talk about the trail of body bags here. We've got, of course, James Dean. This Rolf Wuttrich, this was James Dean's mechanic. And like I said, he survived the initial crash. He sustained severe injuries, and years later, he himself died in a car accident, also under strange circumstances. So not great. Then you have a gentleman by the name of George Barris. Now, he acquired the wrecked Porsche. Why? I'm really not sure. Probably just to own a piece of like American iconography or something. I don't actually know. Barris claimed that it actually fell off the trailer and broke his mechanic's leg while it was being worked on.
Oh, ouch. Okay.
He said it mysteriously caught fire in his garage, but it left the car mostly unscathed.
Wait.
So it just like burst into flames.
Wow.
And was still intact afterwards.
What?
Possessed. Right?
Okay, yeah, that sounds like a demon fire of sorts.
It does. Fast forward to a Dr. Troy McHenry. He was a fellow racer who purchased the Porsche's engine to install in his own vehicle. And guess what happened to him? He was killed in a racing accident when his car, fitted with Dean's engine, lost control and crashed. Dr. William Eskrid, another racer who purchased suspension parts from the wreck. He, too, suffered serious injuries when his car flipped during a race. Didn't die, but he suffered severe injuries. Now listen to this.
Yeah.
The California Highway Patrol, after the car was exhibited as a safety warning in a traveling display, parts of it were stolen.
Yep.
And then after years of being displayed, parts of the car began to vanish. The wreck itself disappeared in 1960 while being transported to a museum. Nobody knows where it wound up, but I will tell you this much. I feel much safer knowing I don't got it.
But you could accidentally buy it someday if you do buy a Porsche.
I'm a Porsche guy, so who knows? All bets are off at this point.
Seems to me that all those accidents happened while racing, which is a notoriously very safe hobby, right behind crochet and basket weaving. So
That is true. Okay.
But the mysterious fire in the garage, that's weird. That's super weird. Falling off of a ramp or a truck onto a mechanic's legs. You don't hear about that every day.
No, you don't.
And when you do, it's specifically a haunted car. So, ipso facto.
Right? So, I don't know, man. Like, what is kind of funny / concerning to me is that it's like the car in totality doesn't need to be the thing that's haunting people. It can be the engine. It can be the suspension parts. It could be literally anything, apparently, at this point.
The seat belts.
Yeah.
The car.
The steering wheel. The hand. I was going to say the handle.
I couldn't think of a part of the car.
Yeah. The rear view mirror.
There we go.
So, anyways, folks, you tell us. You think it's haunted? Could be.
Could be.
All right. Let's keep moving right along here to the Screaming Skull of Bettiscombe Manor.
I don't even know what to think about this. What is a screaming skull? Is this a literal screaming skull or a figurative screaming skull?
It really depends on who you believe here.
Okay.
Don't ask the skull.
No, all right.
So apparently you've never heard of this, which shocks me. But yes, I too had not heard of it until I did the research to this episode. And like I said, there are several other haunted / screaming skulls around the world, which we'll get into probably next year. I actually really like this one because it's just weird. So let's get started in Dorset, England. By the way, Dorset is located in southwest England. Basically, by the way, this should just like get you 100% all in on this right away. Turns out that Dorset is literally a stone's throw from bloody Stonehenge.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, it's probably like 50 miles, but it's pretty close.
Yeah.
When you consider the world.
When you consider the universe, it's basically next door.
Yeah. So, I don't know, lots of strange stuff happening in
wow.
southwest-ish England.
Crop circles over there, too. Let's not forget that.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
I think that's actually what lends credence to this. And they were saying, like, Dorset is apparently kind of a haunted town. Live show, folks, October 2025 in Dorset, England. Live show will do the Spinal Tap thing where like the mini Stonehenge comes down.
Yep. Then we have the people dancing on the stage, and
be so awesome.
we'll get the basses out. It'll be good. It'll be good.
All right.
By the way, we're looking for a drummer. So
right, that's right.
We've gone through a few, but
only serious inquiries, please. Okay. All right. Let's get back to the Screaming Skull here, Tim. Let's talk about a gentleman by the name of Azariah Pinney. I'll go ahead and assume you've never heard of this guy, and that's fine. Pinney was a British aristocrat and businessman. Not a good guy, I'll just say that much, and you'll understand why shortly. Well, in 1685, Pinney was banished to the West Indies because he was supporting the Duke of Monmouth, which was a political rival to the established monarchy.
Oh, everyone knows you don't support the Duke of Monmouth.
Mm-hmm. That's why, I mean,
yeah.
That's why we're
Goes
here
without
today.
saying.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly. So he was banished to the West Indies. But, he clearly had a knack for business or some level of wherewithal because he was able to build up a sugar plantation on the Isle of Nevis in the Caribbean. Side note, the Isle of Nevis looks amazing.
I bet it is.
Moly. Anyways, so he started a sugar plantation. I will say probably doesn't require a ton of business acumen to generate money when you are using free labor.
Free labor is a good way to put it. Sure.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, the use of slave labor here is how he really made his money. But he made enough money and kind of laid low in the Caribbean for a few years. And at that point, he generated enough wealth. And I suppose folks back at home forgot that he was, relegated to the Caribbean. He went back home and he actually brought a few slaves with him to be his servants back in England. And anyway, so when he returned home, he established a manor and intended to live off the wealth that he generated from his plantation. Well, okay, so he's back living in Dorset, England, and one of his servants, one of his slaves, became ill and passed away. I'm not sure why he got sick, but 1700s, so basically anything could and everything could kill you back then. But this man, working as a slave under Penny, made a request on his deathbed that he was to have his body returned to Nevis and buried there after he passed.
Okay.
So Azariah Penny promised him that he would fulfill this last request and, of course, bring his body back to the Caribbean after he passed away. But as you might imagine, that did not happen. Now, here's the other thing. Sorry, before I go a little bit further. Accounts vary here, but I had read a few accounts that basically this gentleman who was on his deathbed demanded his body be returned, lest he curse the manor. So I'm not sure if that happened or not, but apparently that's a real thing. Anyways, servant dies. Penny never returns the body to the West Indies and instead buries the man at the local churchyard, located a short distance from his house.
Okay.
Now, this is how the nickname Screaming Skull comes in. So soon after the burial, strange and disturbing phenomena began to plague the manor. Sounds of screams and wailing could be heard throughout the house and the grounds.
Ooh.
Additionally, there seemed to be legitimate poltergeist activity happening around the manor. Now, this is right after the guy dies.
Yeah. Okay.
And Penny wasn't the only person to hear this. Others in the area and people living at the house heard it as well. And they were like, dude, what is going on? You got to take care of this.
Is that you?
Yeah. No. Details are a bit scant, and also this is a couple hundred years ago. But basically what ended up happening was the body was exhumed and buried elsewhere on the property, but the skull, for whatever reason, was brought back into the house.
Yep.
I know, right? Doesn't make sense. But the skull is still there to this day. So this is true. This really happened.
Okay.
This isn't something that got lost to time. It's still there. Well, in any event, the skull was in the home, and apparently that helped calm or quell some of the paranormal disturbances. So the screaming more or less came to a halt for a short time. But then with each new owner of the home, they'd be like, what's this skull doing? And they'd move it, right. And that would then set off a chain reaction of paranormal activity, which included, of course, screams, wails, hearing strange things, footsteps, poltergeist activity, you name it. So people are like, we can't get rid of this skull now.
Whoa.
Do not move it from its location.
Whoa. And this guy, the slave owner, what's his name?
Penny.
Penny. He built the manor, right?
Yeah, he did.
So it's not like a 700-year-old manor.
Right.
This is like a brand new place. And then it's haunted.
And then it's haunted.
Whoa. Yeesh.
Listen, I'm going to read this article, read this directly from an article about the skull. And it said, over the years, many attempts to get rid of the skull have been made, only to find soon after its removal that screams and other strange phenomena would soon follow its removal and not cease until it was placed back inside the manor. One instance, the skull was thrown into the depths of a nearby pond by a resident of the manor. He was said to be so appalled by the appearance of the skull that he immediately ran outside and threw it into the local pond. The resident was troubled by screams and moans all night long, and the next day he quickly retrieved the skull and placed it back inside the manor, where it resided for a while, nice and quietly. Also, listen to this. It's said that on one particular night of the year, a ghostly coach hurtles up the road from Bettiscombe Manor to the local churchyard. The locals call this incident the funeral procession of the skull. And there was apparently a writer by the name of Eric Marple who wrote about the incident. And, in any event, you tell me, man. Screaming skull of Bettiscombe Manor.
That's wild. What do you think would happen if they removed the skull, but took it back to the island and buried it?
Ooh, dude, the curse might be lifted.
Yeah. Or if they just reunite the skull with the rest of the body.
Maybe that was the whole problem.
Yeah.
I never thought of that, actually, but you could be right about that. I guess at this point, what I would say is, look, if it's continuing to haunt the manor, the property, return.
Just return it.
Yeah.
Just honor the dude's wishes.
Right.
Come on. That's crazy, though. That is, it's hard for me to talk with a straight face about poltergeists and ghosts, but
Yeah.
the timing of that is really weird, and it's lasted for multiple owners, so it's not like someone hiding in the basement or something like that.
I mean, the thing is, like, again, do I believe that there's a haunted skull? I mean, I have a hard time saying yes. But the fact that the skull is still there to this day because every subsequent owner tried to move it and was like, nope, can't do it.
Yeah.
That to me is actually like proof of something. I don't know what it is.
Something. But wow. Okay.
So that's legitimately weird.
That is legitimately weird.
Okay, let's keep rolling here. Let's go to the last one. Let's stay in bloody England and let's talk about the Crying Boy paintings.
Do we have to?
I know. It's kind of a creepy name. Don't worry, the paintings are even creepier. And
good.
I guarantee you've seen these. I really, look it up.
I'm pulling one up.
Yeah, the Crying Boy paintings, they are a series of paintings made of, and this is so weird, like crying children. Primarily boys.
What? Who's the market? Like, what is this?
Apparently all of the British Isles, because everybody has one over there. I'm not making this up. This was like a legitimately like hot piece of art.
Oh, yeah, mass-produced print.
Yeah, you've seen one of these before, right?
Yeah, I guess I have.
Like,
That's
it's kind of
really
familiar
weird.
enough. Yeah, it's ugly, it's weird. Very kitsch, I would say. But yeah,
okay.
This was done. There's a series of artworks all kind of along this theme done by painter Giovanni Bregalin, a.k.a. Bruno Amadio. He painted those puppies in the 1950s. So he was an academically trained painter. He was working on the side as an art restorer and doing all this other stuff and painting these. And then he, started churning them out. People started buying them. Boom, there you go.
Yeah.
But what is weird is these pictures depict young boys, often with large, sorrowful eyes and tears streaming down their faces.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't know why on earth you would buy one of these pieces.
I don't know why you would paint it.
Yeah, I had read that it was kind of a tribute to the children lost during World War II.
Okay.
Or
sure.
children lost parents during World War II.
Yeah.
But like, I couldn't find that being corroborated really anywhere, so I don't know. But very popular in the 1950s and 60s. It said that over 50,000 paintings were sold in the UK. So if you live in the UK, folks, tell us how many of these you have in your house at the moment, because I would be very curious to know. But here is where things get weird. The paintings started to circulate globally and became popular. Artist Bregalin dies in 1981, so on and so forth. However, an article by the British tabloid The Sun published a headline that read, and this is in 1985, Blazing Curse of the Crying Boy. Okay, so this is published on September 4th back in 1985. It details a bizarre and tragic story. Let me get into this. So, homeowners Ron and Mary Hall of Rotherham, a mining town in South Yorkshire, their house was destroyed by fire one day when they were cooking dinner. So instead of blaming the fire on the French fry pan that they were using to like fry up some chips, as they call them, the whole house burned down except the Crying Boy painting.
No. Oh, no.
Dude, yes. Yes.
Oh.
That was the only thing that was left.
Jesus.
So this was in, you can go read the article to this day. It's
But the painting didn't cause the fire. Okay.
Well, why else would it not burn?
I don't know why it didn't.
It's cursed.
It can be cursed and not cause the fire. Okay?
If you're cursed, you're not going to burn yourself. Like, you're going to burn everything else.
Yeah, but it can be cursed and just be sitting there for 25 years, and then a fire breaks out.
Yeah, and then it just doesn't burn.
And then it just doesn't burn because it's cursed.
That
Don't
sounds...
blame the fire on the cursed painting.
I'm telling you what, man. You can have whatever opinion you want.
I have many about this painting.
Okay. And go ahead and have those opinions, but guess what? You're going to be disagreeing with firefighter Peter Hall. He was also brother of Ron Hall. That was the man whose house burned down. And you'd also be disagreeing with a station officer, Alan Wilkinson. He claimed that he knew of numerous other similar cases where prints of the Crying Boy had turned up undamaged in the ruins of homes destroyed by fires.
No.
Are you ready for this?
Also, no.
Y'all ready for this? Here we go. The Maxwell family. The Maxwell family's house was destroyed by a fire shortly after they hung the Crying Boy print in the living room. The painting was found among the ashes, completely undamaged. A woman in Surrey lost her house to a fire 6 months after buying the painting. 2 sisters in Kilburn had fires in their homes after buying a copy of the painting. One sister even claimed to have seen her painting sway backwards and forwards on the wall. A concerned woman on the Isle of Wight attempted to burn her painting without success and then went on to suffer a run of bad luck.
Well, she should know it's not going to burn. That's her. Look, that's on her.
That's the one thing that's not going to burn. A pizza parlor in Norfolk was destroyed, including every painting on its walls except for the crying boy painting.
Just stop for who goes to a pizza parlor and has a crying boy painting on the wall?
Yeah.
I'm just picturing this. Like, who are these people?
Yeah, I mean, I guess they kind of had it coming, right? If
I don't have a lot of sympathy. I'm confused and concerned, but no sympathy.
Well, Tim, look, I get it. We can sit here in our ivory tower studio. Okay, we can throw stones from our glass houses or whatever. And here's what I'll say. These are all real people. These are all real events. This is detailed out in the Sun. A real newspaper, tabloid. And therefore, it's probably true.
It's 100% true. All of it, word for word.
Well, here's what I'll say, though. So 50,000 prints in circulation. I've got documented maybe 8 to 10 fires here.
Yeah.
Pretty small percentage.
True.
So you're probably safe. True. However, it is weird. You have to admit it's weird.
Super weird. But why are they not catching on fire?
Well, okay, there is a legitimate theory here.
Like the painting or the paper.
The cover, yeah, it's coated in something that might be fire resistant, let's just say. So, I mean, that was one theory. I haven't seen any science around that. Nobody could really corroborate that from Oxford University when I contacted them. So,
right. What about Phoenix University?
Still waiting to hear back.
Yeah, okay.
So, I mean, I don't know. Like, look, it's a real cursed object, apparently. It's well known to be cursed, and there's been nothing but horror and tragedy for everyone that's possessed it.
Controversial opinion here.
Okay.
They had it coming.
Well, okay. Anybody pre-1985, no. Anybody post-1985, yes.
But again, I just come back to the fact of like, why are they hanging this in their house? You know?
It is really kind of weird.
It is kind of weird.
Misery Loves Company? I don't know.
I suppose. No, super weird, bizarre. I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm just like, what?
I know.
In order of believability.
Thank you.
Okay.
That was going to be my question.
Yes. I can read your mind.
Okay, you rank these. Most cursed to most believably cursed.
Oh, the Screaming Skull, definitely.
Number one?
Yes, number one is the skull.
The skull has an alibi. So.
Right. No, wait, what was the second one you did? So
I got the Hope Diamond. James Dean's car.
Oh, the car. The car.
Skull, and then the paintings.
I'll say skull, car, diamond, paintings.
Wait, skull, car?
Car, yeah.
Diamond then paintings?
Yeah, the diamond is just really old. A lot of bad things are going to happen to something that's just traveled across continents and centuries and everything. Tragedy will befall different owners.
True. It's just guaranteed to happen at some
it's
point.
It's just going to happen and is going to be awful.
Okay. So you're all in on the Screaming Skull.
I kind of am. Multiple owners, man. Brand new house. Yeah. Turns up haunted.
Yeah.
That's weird.
The skull has the means and the motive. I mean, clearly.
It does.
So, but I think you're onto something, though, because you said, hey, look, we could pretty much end this curse.
I think so.
Which is a fascinating point. I wonder if anybody's thought of that yet.
I think so. Let's ring them up. Next Spooktacular, next year, we will do a live show bringing the skull from England to the Isle of Nevis.
There we go.
Yeah.
What could possibly go wrong? Well, I'll tell you what, folks. You tell us what you think. All of these cursed? None of them cursed? How many of these objects have you personally seen, held, and or owned? Yeah. I guarantee you have listeners that have these Crying Boy paintings. And if you have owned them or known anybody, I don't know, experienced some bad luck or the house burned down, tell us.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to get rid of that painting, Zach has some room on the wall here. So I'll just DM me and I'll give you his address and just box it up and send it over.
Do it.
We'll hang it.
We'll take it.
We'll take it for sure. All right, guys. Well, hey, thank you so much for tuning in. we got some more spooky ones coming up, so stay tuned. And if you haven't already, please be sure to rate, review, subscribe. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell your local mechanic.
Sure.
Yeah, about our podcast. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, everybody.